Yo, what's good, you guys? So today we're gonna be doing a part 2 interview with the SP8, aka Reza. We're gonna ask him some community-related questions that people ask on my server, and only one of you asked on YouTube, which obviously you should be ashamed for doing so little. What's it like with dealing with attempting to preserve your vulnerable emotions, especially with the tough act that you sometimes seem to slip on regardless if you're tough or not? Do you feel as though you directly suppress your emotions or you forget you even have them? Are you aware of your vulnerable feelings?
The way that I operate, I never think that I'm trying to, leave an impression or put up a facade or, be like, I'm sure everybody, they try to leave an impression. I do it in a normal sense, but I'm not out there like operating in the regard of like, trying to leave a certain impression all the time, trying to put up a facade. So I don't ever catch my act slipping. That's the reason,
That's
it's
a
like
weird
if you
thing, though,
were,
right? That's a weird thing. It's a weird. I
right,
think,
right.
dear sir, whoever the fuck wrote this, because you think that this individual is trying to be a certain way, but behind the closed doors they're weak, they're weeping, and it's not the case. This personality is congruent.
No, and like given the experiences usually that cause an individual to become an eight and shit like that, it doesn't force the individual to put up an act. It actually forces the individual to
Right, right.
actually change and to harden and it's not really an act. So the point there is not to leave an impression. The point there is to protect yourself in a sense. So if you can't protect yourself when it comes down to it, then you
Mm.
basically failed at the objective that was, that you felt like that was the goal for you since you were young. So in a sense, like
So the
it's not really
act
an act.
is so to you. It's not about appearing this way, because to you
Yeah.
regard it's about being able to go through this action and actually do it, rather than if I appear strong, I will it will help me because people will not mess with me. You don't care about this as much as being
No,
able to go into it if it's
of course.
demanded.
And I don't know about other eights, other
Hmm.
SPAs.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to imagine an SPA would go out their life just being fake and expecting not to get consequences or not to, face the music eventually. So it's kind of hard to even see that personality like living life genuinely, being fake. So, like Russ just said, it's about acting. It's about acting to protect yourself. It's not about upholding an image. It's not an image type, and you cannot fool yourself. I don't care about other people, but if you don't even see that in yourself, then you're not going to be able to conduct yourself in a way to to establish your like we talked in the last interview, boundaries and all that shit. So
The other part of this question was, do you feel that you directly suppress emotions or you forget you have them? Like, because I know the relationship with emotions is so complicated. We both relate to this
yeah.
almost emotional blindness, and we forget that things might affect us. So I want to see your perspective on this.
Well, the thing is that as a kid, you felt all those emotions. You really did feel
Yes.
shit. You really did feel all the negative emotions.
Yes. Oh yeah.
You felt humiliated. You
Yeah.
felt put down. You felt unfair.
Yeah.
All of those shits. So you did feel a whole bunch of shit. But eventually, it comes to a point where, in order to really cope, you have to fucking like negate those emotions. And maybe at first it's conscious decision.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a conscious decision. Maybe it's even an unconscious decision. But it starts slowly. It's not a fucking process that happens right away. Like for example, if you come to a normal person and you tell them, listen, man, like try not to feel certain emotions, like to like any average Joe, they're gonna be like, okay, shit, like maybe they're gonna have to consciously think to fucking put down these emotions or to negate them. But if you take this individual and go back in time and you slowly push them in that direction, they themselves slowly take small steps. Eventually, it's gonna lead to a place where it's not that they deny the emotion at that point. It's that they just built themselves over the years to not even really feel it eventually. You know, of course, at some points, people might think you will never feel these emotions, right? Maybe when you're unhealthy, you won't. But to a certain point, when you're more healthy, when you're more open, as a person, you might feel some of those emotions. And as an 8, if I ever feel that way in the past, it has caused a bad reaction. It has caused the reaction that I want to fucking overcompensate, or I want to fucking get rid of those emotions as the quickest way as possible, right? So the way that it manifests is usually behaviorally. You would get more reactive. You would get more combative. You would get more just hostile as a person, hardened, even more hardened as a person, in order to bury these emotions more. Normally, how it goes is that you wouldn't really feel those emotions, and when you're more healthy, you would feel them. For example, with your fiance, with my fiance, I would feel certain emotions, and I wouldn't say I have the most emotional depth. She would say that I'm a person who doesn't have necessarily a lot of emotional depth. But whatever emotions that I cultivate, whatever emotions that I feel, especially with that person, I don't necessarily put that down. I try to fucking understand it. I try to be more emotionally intelligent because I love that individual and I don't want that shit, my personality to affect the relationship in a negative way.
Yeah. Are you aware of your vulnerable feelings? Or you? I just feel like the answer is not really. Not really. It's
No,
hard.
like, am I aware? Am I aware of my vulnerable emotions? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do I walk around feeling
Right.
vulnerable or absolutely not. When I was young, yeah, for sure, but
Yes.
I just can't remember the last point I felt those emotions. It's just a process over the years of hardening, and at that point, you wouldn't really feel shit. Like,
And it's the same thing for me, which is funny, right? Different subtype, but it's the same shit.
yeah,
There's not any really awareness of the impact that's been done to us emotionally. So we go through
yeah,
life for the day. Maybe something happened. Maybe in the moment we're annoyed, whatever the fuck, got angry, we moved on, and we think that we moved on, like the situation is fine, it's no issue. But you're seeing different behaviors from the 8 core. He's
yeah,
irritated, he's angry, he kind of wakes up angry,
yeah,
he doesn't fucking know why he's like feeling angry. And the
yeah,
truth is that that's how it might manifest. Those it's the eight's not in touch with it, but this shit will always come out in some other type of way, which is usually anger, impatience, more aggression, more combativeness. That's how it manifests. And then the 8 might, if self-aware, you might tell them, hey, you're feeling those things, maybe because something happened 1 week ago and maybe that affected you. So
yeah.
you're thinking, oh shit, I don't really feel affected. I don't consciously think about being affected, but it did leave a mark. So that's how it's fucking dealing with it,
That mechanism, I think people maybe have a hard time wrapping their head around it,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah,
being externally focused also. Like,
right.
it's not. It is that emotional dementia, but the mechanism is that you're so
Mm-hmm.
focused on the
Yep.
fucking environment, maybe
Environment.
the sensoric shit, that you don't necessarily fucking
Look
even
deep
orient
inside. Yep.
internally.
Yep.
So like that shit doesn't register to you, and it's probably somewhere inside.
Mm-hmm.
Might come out in a dream or some crazy shit like that.
Yes, happened. Yeah,
But
happened to me.
yeah, but you just fucking consciously, right, on a conscious level, you're not oriented towards it at all. So
What trait of
mm.
the SPA does manifest in counterintuitively, meaning you have to witness it to understand how it actually is?
As your instinct, you're very neurotic about your instinct, and you have certain mechanisms or certain behaviors that are associated with your instinct that sometimes can be counterintuitive. Like, for example, as a self-preservation instinct, my main goal is self-preservation and protection. But in the effort of trying to ensure that, I get myself in sometimes more trouble than I should. Sometimes you don't back down out of principle. Sometimes you take it too far, right? And that ends up harming you. Whereas some other individual, maybe with a different personality, they would deal with it. They would deal with it more sober-mindedly. They would actually be more reasonable, and they would ensure their self-preservation. But for me, sometimes, in the pursuit of self-preservation,
Yeah.
it actually sometimes makes it worse.
I want to touch on this something that you said. You're not gonna back down out of a principle.
Mm.
What
Yeah,
does that mean? What principle doesn't allow you to back down? If you value your fucking safety, your everything, how the fuck are you willing to risk yourself for a principle? I'm trying to understand that.
So, is that principle arises from childhood, right? So, in childhood, you were probably treated unfairly, and that caused you to develop a certain principle, a life goal, right? That it could be unconscious too.
Yep.
The fact that you will never ever back down in the face of opposition. You will never fold under pressure. You will never cower from danger. Basically, that ultimatum that you give to yourself is basically that principle that drives you to act these certain behaviors that are pretty much related to your instinct, neurotic, irrational behaviors that are related to your self-preservation, for example. So you would out of that principle, out of that experience you had as a child, you go out the rest of your life feeling that type of way, and sure, and you know how people sometimes, not everybody, for example, is, and I think most people, not necessarily they can cope with certain shit in a healthy way. For me, the way that I coped with shit was that I pretty much, I saw, like, for example, unfair treatment, shit like that. I just became hardened and I became more fucking aggressive and more violent. And that ended up in being my tool to ensure that fear that I have, that basically it is a fear, right? And whatever action you have going off from a fear usually isn't a good fucking action. Whatever fucking mentality that you develop from that is not going to be good. It's going to be very over exaggerated and pretty much dysfunctional, right? Because of that principle that you have, due to your past experiences, you're going to act in certain ways. As you grow older, maybe you can cultivate it and you can
Yes.
direct it in a better fashion. But since you're a teen, since you're young, especially,
Right.
you're not going to be able to direct it in a
So
good way. So
how do you override this principle as someone in your state right now, like worked on yourself so much? What are the steps to override this principle?
I wasn't even aware why I'm doing this shit that I'm doing. Why am I causing
Okay.
all these issues to myself and others, right? Why am I going out of my way to cause danger and harm people, especially? So I just, when you're not aware, you don't question yourself, right? You're just doing because you know someone deserves
Yeah.
it, because it's the right thing to do, etc. But when you realize that you're doing this because something happened to you in the past and you are just overcompensating, that's where you can sit back and say, you know what? I might be doing too much right now. I might be going overboard, right? So self awareness.
Wow. Yeah.
Once you're
True.
able to be self aware, you're able to regulate yourself. Basically, you're able to be more measured and more balanced. You know,
True.
it's
True.
mainly self awareness for me.
For me, also, it's such a big difference. Also, self awareness. In the past, I just probably like you might relate. Never questioned my actions. I never questioned my, no matter what the fuck I did or said. I didn't question it. Even if people didn't agree with it, I didn't give a fuck. Even if it was wrong in their eyes, I didn't give a fuck, because that's such a conviction in the fucking act of doing, you know. But I notice as I've grown, now it's actually a bit more annoying, because if I do something, maybe I react, I think about it, you know, 10 minutes later or 15 minutes later, and I'm like, okay, you know, maybe I overreacted. Maybe it was not a wise decision. It was unfair from my own side, you know. And I'm able to see this and then change when experiencing something like the death of a loved one. I might answer it actually. I'm not even a fucking SPA. I'm not even an SPA. Fuck them. I'll be an SPA for this interview. And when experiencing something like the death of a loved one, how does it impact you? Your emotions and thoughts and actions, in what way?
I mean, listen, I've had my grandpa pass
Yep.
away, and I just wasn't close to him,
Right. Yeah.
so
Fuck. Yeah.
I never felt anything. I don't think I've had a loved one pass away in that fashion where I was supposed
Right.
to feel a certain type of way. I had both my grandparents
Yeah.
pass away. Didn't really feel
Yeah.
anything because I just wasn't close to
Yeah.
them, you know. So based off that, it's kind of hard to answer that question.
That's what I was thinking. I wasn't sure if you had someone you were close to. I had a grandma died. Then I had my father die. When my father died, that's the huge one. So obviously I'm not an SPA, guys, but I would kind of tell you that the reaction is probably gonna be honestly kind of the same. And that's the thing between the subtypes. People sometimes think the subtypes are so different the way they manage some of their eightness. It's the same. It's very similar. There are differences, but not in this sphere. So for me, I did experience it. Same shit as you'd expect. Denial. I was thinking, listen, man, what the what can I do? You know, am I supposed to sit down, break down, and fucking what? You know, I'm not gonna let this shit stop me. So I keep on going. But I just keep doing. A distraction. I distract myself with everything. I just keep doing shit, like a fucking machine. And I get dreams. You know, I get dreams about my fucking dad, and sometimes it will come back to me, like those glimpses of those feelings and shit. But then I quickly. It's such a weird. Reza might relate. It's such a weird experience of touching something, feeling a connection with an emotion, but then it's like a glass is between you and the fucking emotional world. It's this. Once you lose connection, it's gone, and that's what happens to me. Even if you get a glimpse of those emotions, once that shit gets away, it's like a block. It's like you don't have access to it, and that's what happened. So for me, I thought I was okay. I thought I actually handled that shit well. Everyone used to tell me, wow, you're handling it so fucking well. But my behavior was fucking cooked. I was at my worst. All my bad habits just increased. I became more fucking aggressive, more hostile. I was not a person that you'd want to be around, you know? I was very, very domineering person. Because of this, you know, because I did not process this depth very well, I became more hardened. I became more fucking detached from many fucking emotions. This is a question that really everyone has different opinion. Everyone has different perspective on. What are the limits of which you will scheme or be Machiavellian to achieve your goals, especially with people, and how that clashes with your normative and weak ethical functions in socionics?
Oh man, like I've heard this shit before. I've
Yeah,
heard this
yeah,
shit before about fucking Machiavellian shit, bro.
right.
Bro, at the end of the day, you view it as I don't
Yes,
know if other eights is gonna differ, but as soon as
right.
I see some Machiavellian character, right, it's disgust, bro. That shit is low. That shit is beneath like any fucking standard that you might have. That shit is pure fucking weakness. And I was telling this Russ yesterday, right?
Yes.
It's so fucking easy to be Machiavellian. It's so fucking easy to fucking stoop low to get what the fuck you want, right? To be a fucking indirect, cheating ass loser, right? It's so fucking easy to do that shit. To be deceitful and to be snaky and to fucking lie and put up a facade and then you're someone different underneath. That is so fucking easy for people to do. Like, I don't get why all the fucking hype about Machiavellianism and
Yeah,
all that
right.
retarded shit. Like, people shouldn't look at it and think like, wow, that's because man, it's fucking easy, right? Machiavelli didn't have to write a book about it. I've never done it. I'm never gonna fucking do it, right? It's fucking easy, man. Selling yourself out is easy. I never manipulated anybody that I can remember at all. I don't manipulate, bro. You want something, you say it how it is. You say what the you want. I'll be honest, man. I don't know fucking how to manipulate, and I don't want to know how to manipulate. I don't want to even learn that shit. I believe if you have a problem with someone, you should face it. You should face it directly with the individual and confront it. For example, you have some person who is your, maybe your enemy,
Okay.
and that person goes up to you and says, "Listen, we have such and such fucking problem. Let's square it out. Let's go fucking deal with this shit." I believe that's how problems should be dealt with. I've had issues with people and we faced it directly and we actually ended up being friends. This was when I was very unhealthy.
Of course, yeah, yeah.
So basically what the fuck I would do is if someone is being a problem to me, I would make it very close. I would
Yeah,
make it very obvious. I would either tell them, I would go walk up to them, I would start touching on them, I would start fucking, being very close to their personal space.
right.
It would be very fucking obvious, and I would tell them, let's go fucking sort it out, physically. This is so funny. Every single time this fucking happened, the other person ends up being my friend. Listen, at the end of the day, intimidation is you. For me, this is how the fuck it works. Is me not trying to control myself and not escalate shit, but at the same time trying to send a message in a less violent way or in a less physical way. So since I was young, I was faced with such difficulties that had I was have I been grown up, maybe I would deal with it in a more in a better way. I would, for example, like, put an end to certain injustices, right? For
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
And what I always felt that I needed to fucking do was to be able to confront shit and be able to fucking face whatever needs to be faced, right?
Right.
That's what I felt was my fucking mission when I was young, right? When I reached that goal, when I was able to do
Yes.
whatever I needed to do, I saw that my problems were fixed. I'm not saying you
Yeah.
shouldn't be planning, you
Yeah.
shouldn't be strategizing in certain things.
It's interesting because many people would say, yeah, but it's the SPA. That's the deceitful, lying, snaky rat motherfucker who doesn't believe in anything.
I don't know, man. I mean, fuck. I might not be an SBA, right? But I don't
Yo,
fucking view
I'm gonna
that.
type you a fucking SP too. Do you think this is your self perception? I kind of feel like this relates very well to each other's weight. I feel like your self perception of yourself is very honest, upfront, a person of
Hmm.
dignity, a person of fucking self respect. Would you say that though there is a hypocritical still nature when it comes to you or as an SPA? Like, what do you think? Because I think it might be play some justifications behind your actions.
Trying to fucking present as an honorable character.
Right. While actually, it kind of reminds me of Tony
Well,
Soprano. I'm a family man. I'm a Catholic. I value my family. I provide. But he's a fucking nut.
you fucking place so much value in honor and respect and integrity and shit like that. But at the end of the fucking day, that's me, right? When I look back certain
Yeah.
actions that I fucking did,
Yeah. There's no honor in that, right? Yeah.
no, there's no fucking honor, man. There's no
Yeah. Yeah.
no. It's something that, and listen, it's not like I don't give a fuck, right? That shit bothers me. That shit, if I'm ever ashamed of some aspect of myself, it's gonna be something like that, man. Because I did do actions that were absolutely deplorable and that I would never, in my conscious mind, think to do it again. I mean, man, I have to be honest. I
Of
have to
course.
be honest.
Which body, emotional or mental signals you get that indicate for yourself a decline in mental health? Like, what signals tell you that you're getting into unhealthy 8 territory?
Man, it's crazy, but when I'm unhealthy, always have a fucking headache, which is crazy. But my body's so tense. My body's so tense, and my mind is like tense, right? And it's just tension. And so I can feel it sometimes. This is like real. Sometimes I get a fucking headache. Sometimes, I'm like heated for no fucking reason. Sometimes my body is active, but I'm not really like
Yeah.
being active, right? So that is a very good sign for me that, you know what, man, listen, this is that adrenaline right now. This is that fight or flight. Something's gonna
Yes.
fucking happen if you don't fucking take measures, right? Certain ideas and certain vengeful ideation, right? Like if you wake up and suddenly you feel like shit, like you remember an incident, you're like, oh shit,
Mm-hmm.
this guy has my chain, for example. What the fuck? I'm gonna go and get it. That's where you know, like, there's something wrong. There's something
Yeah, out of the blue. Out of the
out of the
blue.
fucking blue. That sort of ideation is very unhealthy for me. That's why I know it's probably time to try to figure out what the fuck is happening, what's wrong.
What is the easiest
Um,
way for you to express tenderness? What is the sorts of things that can stir up positive or sentimental emotions in you?
I know Russ would relate to this, but at a certain point, I thought I wasn't capable of being a loving,
Yeah.
caring individual, being a loving individual in general. And
Yeah.
before my fiance, man, I've never experienced tenderness or any of these feelings for anybody. But once I've gotten to know my fiance,
Yeah.
I'm starting to experience these emotions for real. So yeah, man, I do experience all these emotions with her. Man, this is something that I've always had trouble with. I'm not the most expressive person, especially emotionally and sentimentally. So I've always had, even though, listen, even though I try to be, even though
Of
I
course.
wanna express shit,
Of course.
but since I just I don't know what it is, but sometimes it doesn't come out. So the way that I show it is by taking care of the person, by getting them nice things, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
By
you're
trying to
yeah.
spend quality time with the person, right?
Right.
Mainly it's given to them, and the way that I give back is usually buying them something nice, something that they wanted,
Yes.
a
Yeah.
gift,
Yeah.
shit like that. So if I do that to a person, that means I want to express things emotionally,
Yeah.
but I rather do it
Yeah.
like that. I'd rather do it another way. I go out of my way and I do my best
Right.
to be
Right.
a good.
Just
I
listen.
don't
Just say
fucking
husband. You're already gonna be fucking husband anyway. Fuck it.
yeah, fuck it. So I do my best to be the best husband I can.
Yeah.
I've tried to right all my wrongs. I try to fucking be fair. I try to listen to the individual and really do as much as I fucking can to show affection and to show love and all of that
Yes.
shit. And I feel like my fiance can see it. She can
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
that, okay, maybe this person, they're not the easiest when it comes to expression. They're not really suave with expression. They're not,
Yes.
etc. But she can fucking appreciate, I'm sure she can appreciate the efforts that I fucking do in all aspects of the relationship. Obviously indicate that I love her. It's way easier for me to write a message to my fiance maybe than to
Right.
express shit verbally.
Right.
So at certain events, maybe it's her birthday,
Right.
it's
Right.
our anniversary or shit like that, I would actually write something
Oh, so like a
and
letter.
really go, yes, yes, and I would go all out as much as I fucking can. It's way easier for me to do that and put
Wow.
my emotions into
Yes.
words
Wow.
and write something like that. I was way worse than I am now. Like I was
Yeah. Yeah.
so guarded and emotionally like unavailable and shit. But now I'm way more fucking open
Yes.
with her. I'm way more expressive of
Yes.
my emotions with her, and I was never before. And she's been patient, and she was very patient throughout all this time because I think she knew eventually
Yeah.
I would start to open up to her.
How to deflect and disarm SPA's vengeance? Being more aggressive and not treating at all? Question mark. Saying I'm sorry and I won't do it again? Question mark. Or ignoring them?
If I want an apology from a fucking person that I feel has wronged me, that to me feels like it's something I don't want to do. It's kind of like acknowledging a certain feeling.
Yeah, like you need their apology. What kind of fucking bullshit is that?
Exactly. And so the way to go about it is to, turn the favor, right? Man, I don't know about apologies. I don't know about
Do you
shit
think
like that.
certain apologies could work if maybe certain boundaries are crossed? Like you would let it go. Maybe this guy was a bit disrespectful. If he say, "Yo, I'm sorry," listen, man.
Yeah, if it was
Yeah,
someone just being, a bit fucking being
smart or something.
an asshole, being a
Yep.
smart ass and shit, and they apologize, like whatever, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But certain things is
Yeah.
kind of like, nah, man, I don't think words gonna fix something like that,
So,
like, nah. I think the person should face
right.
whatever the situation is. So if I have a certain issue with a person and I try to confront them, I think that they should face it. We should really hash it out and bury the hatchet. I try to hold myself to a certain standard
Yeah.
of integrity and honor, but when push comes to shove, sometimes,
I feel like
sometimes,
once you cross certain boundaries, morality is really not in the
and
question. Like maybe, for example, I think, oh, I should not do something, but if you cross this line, if it means getting to you and harming you because of what you've done, it's fair. It's very fair.
I talk a certain idea about them facing it, but I know when push comes to shove, it's all about getting what the you want, and what you want is It's to be for things to be fair and square. If you have a problem, whether it be a fucking whatever SP8 or whatever
Regardless
the
of the
fuck
type,
it is,
regardless of the motherfucking type.
regardless of the fucking type, yeah, just fucking be upfront about it. Be honest about the shit that you did, and see what happens.
Were you ever in a state or position of defeat? How did this feel? How did this shit make you feel? And how do you also handle betrayal? But let's focus on the first one.
Of course, I was in defeat. I mean, yeah, like why the wouldn't I be in defeat? What am I, like a
You're
fucking
Superman.
god or
You're a
something?
Superman,
Like
bro.
I felt defeated many times in my life, right? And I hold myself to such a standard, and I treat myself in a way that there's not a lot of there's not a lot of fucking forgiveness. So if I ever find myself in defeat, I'm gonna try to fucking do whatever it takes to
So
fucking
how
never
does it
feel.
feel? Does it haunt you? Like the fact that
Yes,
you. Mm,
it really bugs me. It really bugs me more than anything, right? It's not easy for me to come to peace and come to terms with certain shit. Cope with it. Sometimes I go out of my way to try to fix it, but that doesn't always end up being the
right.
best decision or for you or for anybody.
Right.
What I've learned with age is basically to
Yep.
try to be more look more internally. You know, why did this fucking happen? Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel this feeling that makes me want to go out there and correct a wrong, right? So questioning that and realizing where I came from and the fucking journey that I had and the person that I am because of that really helps with, I guess, calming myself down and realizing that, you know what, man,
Mm-hmm.
like what you're feeling is kind of overboard. It's overcompensated. It is exaggerated. So you need to try to balance that out. You need to try to calm down with that. And I feel like it circles back to the shit that we were saying before. It's self-awareness. Self-awareness. You realize that, you know what, this is unreasonable right now. This is too much. So you're able to calm down that way.
The standards of the eight core are very specific. The standards of the eight core are related to, at the end of the day, to power, dominance, strength, and anything that is opposition to submission and also perceived weakness. That's really it. That's it. And a lot of it is kind of being honest, because when you're honest, you are able to be straight the fuck up because you're not scared. It's an assumption that, look at me, I'm so honest and out in the open, because that's what a fucking real person does. I ain't scared of this bullshit. So even honesty is associated with this quality, while avoidance is obviously, or indirectness, scheming, is associated as weakness, because it means in the eight brain, this person is probably scared. He doesn't have the guts to do it face to face. That's by the standard. So it's interesting. The standards of the eight core are very fucking interesting to pay attention to and to realize, because it's really changes so much, even with the SP8. And we see this though. We see this with the many. There are some fictional character SP8s that when they are in a defeat, when they are certain, they're so hard on themselves, because it's the standard of an 8. I once said, even into my own autobiography, is it's almost superhuman. The standard is so exaggerated, it is almost that no human can truly fit it. And
Yeah.
sometimes not only you fucking uphold this shit to yourself, you project this standard on other people. And if they don't fucking reach that shit, you feel contempt. You feel, the fuck is this weakness? Completely unreasonable standard that people can't fit without any mercy. Your father dies, your mother dies. There's no empathy for your own self. This is tragic. So you see someone, oh, people don't like me at school. This person's crying, fucking complaining. First thought in your head's like, what the fuck is this? What is this weakness, bro? What is this pit of fucking weakness? And that's what happens. How do you keep your paranoia under control in your interactions with people? Do you have any tactics how to deal with it? What have you done to improve it?
This is a very fucking big one. Maybe not a lot of people know about this, but paranoia, for me, it was 50% of the issue because you're so fucking fixated on your boundaries and for shit to be a certain way that you want it, for shit not to be challenged, etc., that you perceive shit in a fucking inaccurate way, right? In a neurotic way, in a paranoid way, and it would cause you to fucking act in certain behaviors that fucking, once I realized that I have such a fucking antagonistic view on others, and that creates the paranoia there that these people are my enemy, and so I would expect certain behaviors. It's, you know what it is? It's preconceived notions. This certain situation I'm in, or these people are not to be trusted, etc. So it creates a certain fucking paranoid ideation that whatever the they do, there's got to be a fucking reason behind it. There's got to be a fucking something that's directed towards you. And it used to cause a lot of fucking problems for me. And the way that I handled it, it's my perception isn't necessarily the fucking truth. Somebody would walk into the situation and they would see that there's absolutely nothing to be talked about there. Like, it's insignificant. But for me, I'm just going in with pre-baked notions that like any situation is gonna be harmful. So you should expect any type of fucking transgression or any type of action to be taken against you, etc. So I've dealt with it with, again, right? Like, it keeps going back to it, self-awareness. I know why the fuck I have this paranoid ideation, and I know how to fucking calm it down by realizing that shit. This is all because of my fucking perception. This is all because of past experiences, possibly, that caused me to look at situations with a preconceived attitude. So that is mainly it, man. Like, I would say it again, like, fucking self-awareness, bro. Like, it's crazy, but it's true. If I perceive a slight from, like, whatever, from a stranger or whatever, I would sit and I would think, like, and I would think intellectually about the situation. Does it really make sense for this individual to fucking do something against me? Did I disrespect them? Do I know this fucking person? No. That's it. End of fucking story. Whereas before, it was straight the thought into action. There wasn't any fucking
Thinking.
intermediate process. It was straight thinking,
Yeah.
paranoid thinking into
Yeah.
action. And so now there's way more breaks and there's way more processes that go behind any action that I take. So I would sit down and I would just think about things intellectually, and that's enough for me. Maybe it's not sufficient sometimes because you still have that instinct.
Right.
You're a person that really trusts your instincts and shit.
Yeah.
But with time, you start to learn and you start to fucking, you start to let go of that behavior, that way of thinking.
What would you say are the biggest differences between Reza's type and Rust's type? Basically, maybe the differences between our personalities. We can both chip in and from our own perspectives. What you think, though, on your side?
Since I've known Russ, we've related so much in so many things
Fuck's sake, yeah.
that we were mistaken many times that
Oh
we're
yeah.
the same fucking same subtype. If we didn't know anything about typology and shit like that, we'd
Yeah.
be like, yo, bro, like, we're 100% the
Yeah.
same,
Yeah.
right? Given that I know you for longer and there's some nuance to it,
Yeah.
there's a certain different flavor you could say to the personality. I focus more on protection, not being crossed, etc., shit like that. Protection for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And he focuses more on rebellion. Both eights, one is preoccupied with protection, the other is preoccupied with rebellion, not being subjugated in any sense of the word.
Yeah.
And that shows in many, many different facets of our lives
Yeah.
and little minute details in behavior and shit like
Mm-hmm.
that. So I would say the core of it is that.
There are some, definitely, when he talks about the differences, it's super interesting because I'm not really as focused on protection and guardedness. I'm in many ways I felt invincible, but I was not guarded. I fucking was just open with that shit. So there's that difference. But I would say he's a much more practical, logistical character. He's someone who logistically can deal with situations, those actions, and know how to deal with them, how to navigate them, how to understand those regulations and use them and utilize them. For me, it's not really this way. I'm not really good at this type of shit, and I'm not good at this at all when it comes to relational pressure I'm much better at that. I know how to do it much more effectively. But a bigger difference also is that even our approach to rebellion is very different. Like Reza here, he's actually pretty fucking chill. His issue isn't really being controlled by people, fucking traditions trying to fucking tell him what to do, and this is not as much a problematic thing for him. He's able to coexist in systems and hierarchies and utilize it to his advantage very well. So he's not this type of outspoken character in this way. For me, very early on, you know, I was anti-fucking my own religion. I was like, all that. Yeah, fuck all that, and I ain't gonna fucking do this shit. This shit's dumb, you know. And I believed a bigger difference is for us. I feel like if I'm in an environment or someone, people think, oh, it's really bad, like that you don't believe in God because everyone needs God. I would be the first one to stand up and go against this statement. And it doesn't have to be God. It can be anything. You know, like, oh, I think if you need to be a smart person who reads books every day, and if you don't read books every day, you're a fucking loser. I'll be the first one to say, yeah, fuck you and your books. You don't need any of that shit, you dumbass. So I am much more that kind of individual, you know. It's very different. He wouldn't give a fuck about any of that. There is a more active opposition. I don't want to be fucking defined by this shit. I'm more chaotic. Clearly, he's more on the down low. He's much more on the down low. He's more understated in many ways. I'm a bit more expressive as an individual and a bit more outspoken.
It's kind of like if you read a 8 book whenever it comes out, you know, the fucking whole picture of the Nate, you're gonna find Russ is gonna relate to this over here, and I'm gonna relate to this over here.
Right.
So there's that overlap.
Yes.
It's huge.
Yes, and then additional. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, exactly. It's just different flavoring. Like, that's the best way to put it. Right?
Guys, it's a long ass interview. We went really in depth with this interview, and we might probably have also part 2 interview of the SP9, part 2 interview of the SP3. Trust me, we will not stop this shit, because one interview is not enough to really answer everyone's questions. So from time to time, I'm gonna make sure to do this kind of thing. But again, guys, any more questions regarding this fucking subtype? Answer down below, okay? Again, Reza, bro, it was amazing doing this shit with you. It's good that you came on the camera, made it more interactive with the peoples, and yeah, man, thank you, bro, thank you. Part 3 sometime in 6 fucking months. When the book drops, we're gonna have a video call, like an 8-core video call, where we go and discuss certain things in the book. Maybe we can do this type of shit.
It was a blast, man.
It was a blast, bro.
And I hope you guys enjoy it.
Okay, guys, we the fuck out. So comment down below. Bye bye. Ciao, ciao.